a little bit more festive here over the next week or so because we've got temperatures in the 50s, and not just for a couple of days. We're talking about most of the coming week going to feel very, very winter-like here across the Houston area. In fact, feeling like it and looking like it here as we take a look out over the Texas Medical Center. Those clouds are still holding on pretty tight, but the rain is beginning to let up. Finally, temperatures still holding in those 50s in our northern zone, 61 at Bush Airport. We've been stuck there for hours and hours and hours all day today. 67 at Hobby Airport and 66 there in the land of sugar. So as we take a look at the future track, this takes us into 2:30 tomorrow afternoon. Notice that we are still looking at temperatures generally holding between 60 and 64 degrees. That really depends on how fast those clouds move out. The faster they move out, the warmer those temperatures are going to be. If those clouds hold on a little bit, we could actually be stuck in the upper 50s to right around 60 for most of the day. So I think we're going to wake up to an overcast sky. You say, oh, that weather guy Blake, I'll tell you, he doesn't know what he's talking about. Well, I'm telling you now, you're going to wake up to clouds, but it really depends on when those clouds move out will determine how warm we get tomorrow. So 60 to 64 degrees looks to be a pretty good bet. But look what happens as we head into 7 a.m. on Monday, upper 30s. Lower 40s, going to be a pretty chilly start to the day. And look at that as we head into the lunch hour. 48 degrees for a lunchtime temperature. We haven't seen that in a while. 50 degrees is what the model's showing here as we head into the afternoon. So Monday going to be a cold day no matter how you slice it here across the Houston area. Skies beginning to dry out a little bit. Despite what you see on the radar, the rain is very, very light out there. And again, it's becoming a little bit more splotchy than we've seen most of the day. I told you yesterday it was going to be a sun up to sundown event, and that's exactly what we saw. And I think as we wake up tomorrow morning, most of us should be waking up to cloudy but dry conditions. So here's a look at the amount of rain that we've seen over the past 24 hours. 7/10 of an inch here up towards Montgomery County, 3 inches out there towards Jersey Village. But notice the further south you are, the heavier the rain was. We're talking 5 inches of rain there to the west of Bay City, but let's take you back 48 hours. Yeah, how about this? 8 inches there in East Bernard, or close to it. 5.5 there to the north of Sugar Land, 3.8, 4.6. You get the idea. 4 to 8 inches of rain. So our predictions were pretty much spot on as far as how much rain we were looking at across southeast Texas. As we take a look at the broader picture here, it looks like maybe my satellite's stuck. There we go. It's having a case of the Mondays here on a Saturday. We're seeing some light rain pushing across the big thicket getting into the parishes of Louisiana. There's the leading edge or the ending part of the rain that's pushing across the I-35 corridor. I think that'll be through here by the time we wake up tomorrow morning. So there's your storm system responsible for all of this mess. That's going to quickly push on off to the east. And look at that, a big trough of low pressure digs out across the eastern portions of the country, and that's where the bulk of the cold air is going to be. But we is certainly close enough that we are going to get a pretty good glancing blow here getting into Monday. So again, I hope you have those jackets ready. Monday going to be a cold day. Now, you see this little dip up here towards Montana? There it is, right down into Texas. That means yet another reinforcing shot of some chilly air to round out the week. So Thursday, Friday into Saturday, highs once again in the 50s. I know, it's hard to believe, but that's what's headed our way. So here's how it all plans out. Let me try that again. Here's how it all plays out. At 11:30 this evening, you see still showing some rain here across southeast Texas. The bulk of the moisture pushing off into Louisiana. By the time we get to 5:30 tomorrow morning, these lows are going to push on off to the east. Behind it, the skies will clear. You see the clearing conditions by 11 o'clock, but we may get another batch of clouds through here. The point is, I think it's going to start off cloudy. We begin to see those skies clear out heading into Sunday afternoon. Then high pressure builds in, and look where it happens to set up shop, right over the top of us. And that tells me right away it's going to be a very cold night as we get into Monday night and into Tuesday morning. Then another front comes in on Wednesday, and that reinforces the chilly temperatures. So we're talking about a freeze possible all the way down to the I-10 corridor. So if you are watching from El Campo, Sugar Land, downtown Houston, out towards Liberty, or anywhere to the north of there, get ready to cover those plants. It's going to be a cold night as we head into Monday night into Tuesday. 27 Conroe, 30 the Woodlands, Hempstead, 31 degrees in Sealy, and even in the city of Houston now, I have a temperature of 32 degrees. And Ron, looking ahead at the next 7 days, lots of 50s, my friend. The only one that sticks out there is Wednesday at 64.
It's beginning to feel a lot like, you know what? All right, thank you so much, Blake.